Hey, Dr. Diamond here, founder of Femme Meets Fortune, helping female entrepreneurs scale both their business and their life while staying in tune with their pleasure centers. And in this video, we're going to talk about the fundamentals of success in business. And we're going to talk about 5 things today. The first one is pleasure and fun. I want to make sure that we're oriented to this because one of the things that often drives us to go into business is that we want more time and we want to change the time for money continuum. So it might be more time with our family, it might be more time with our friends, our kids, it might be all sorts of different ways, it might look a lot of different ways. Right? And one of the things I'll see happen sometimes is we go so deep into everything that it takes to build an entrepreneur business that we wind up losing touch with some of the fundamentals that we got into business to begin with, such as pleasure. And pleasure could be being more in touch with yourself, your own libido, your own personal pleasure. Pleasure could be external in the way that you are showing up for your family and your friends and having mealtime, whatever it is. But we want to make sure that we are approaching and setting up our business with an orientation to pleasure. So whether it's simple things such as setting up your schedule so you have more time in the morning for pleasurable things, building your office in a way where it's an enjoyable space for you to be during the day. Whatever it is, we want to make sure that we're staying connected to pleasure as we go throughout this. So that's number 1. Number 2 is knowing your why. So another thing that gets really lost oftentimes with us in business, with us meaning females, humans in general, is we can get so overwhelmed with the burdens of all the different tasks and hats and everything that is involved that we can sometimes forget why we're doing it to begin with. So the point of knowing your why is, why are you doing this? Who are you serving? Are you passionate about serving these people? Maybe you don't really care who you serve. I talked to a friend who has a business the other day who was really just telling me that he really doesn't care. He just wants to make a lot of money and he wants to provide a good service, but he doesn't really care about what he provides. He will show up in whatever way customers need. He just wants to make a lot of money, right? So that's what a friend of mine said. There's a lot of different ways we can approach this, but knowing your why helps you orient to what it from a motivational standpoint, what it needs, what you need to do on those really hard days to get out of bed, to stay motivated to your work, stay committed, all those sorts of things. I've talked several times about how I have a 7-figure business and a 6-figure business, and the worst loss in any of my business history was a $30,000 loss in one single month. And so that's a pretty negative loss when I'm used to 6-figure months. And one of the things that was really helpful for me in that month that was really hard was remembering the why, because I worked a lot of hours that month and basically took money out of my savings to pay my staff, to pay my team, to keep everything going. So during that month, it was really, really important for me to remember the why. So I stayed motivated so I could keep my mindset correct, all those types of things. So that's the why. Knowing your who. Knowing your who is really important because there's basically no way to really scale a business to a large degree without having a team. And we can only have a team if we're able to put our ego aside and actually take a look within and really admit what we are weak at and what we hate doing. Because usually those are the things that are going to help us fill in the gaps. Like one of my weaknesses is grammar. Even though I'm highly educated, I still make grammatical mistakes commonly. And so I have somebody on my team, and she doesn't check over everything I do, but she goes through a lot of the content I create and will read it to help with the grammar because that is a weak thing for my skill set. And so when you understand your weakness and when you're able to admit your weakness and not get defensive about it and actually just say, you know what, I'm good at a lot of things, but I'm not really that great at this thing, that helps you understand who you need to hire to fill in the gap. So understanding your and knowing your who comes with being honest with yourself. Knowing your numbers. We're on number 4 now. Knowing your numbers is really, really important because knowing your numbers is allowing you to make sure that you do have a scalable product or service. So the example I'd like to give for this is really understanding for each person that comes in, you want to know the average lifetime customer value. So knowing basically what you make on average per customer on an average basis, as well as how much time it takes to deliver the services. So if you are in a model that you are trading for every single client, you have one-on-one time, right? So if you're in a service-based industry and you do a lot of one-on-one time, what you need to figure out is, okay, if your average lifetime client value is XYZ, so your average lifetime client value is $1,000. What you need to figure out is, where is that point based upon how many hours you have to deliver? So say for one client, you make $1,000 and say it takes you 5 hours to deliver that product or service to them. Then you need to calculate and say, okay, well, with working X number of hours per week, if each client is going to cost you 5 hours, how many clients? And in a week, you can see 8 clients, right? So what you want to do with understanding these numbers is see on, say, a monthly basis, when you have maxed out your time, making sure you still have time for marketing and strategizing. So when you've maxed out the time that you are allocating for the delivery of your product and service, what dollar amount can you make with your current average lifetime customer value? And one of the things you're looking for, even if you're offering and you want to continue to offer one-on-one work in this example, one of the things you're really looking for to see is, can you hire somebody to replace yourself before you, do you have money to do that before you run out of time? And if you cannot hire yourself back up before you run out of time, you are in a position where you are not going to be able to scale. And it's similar thing from a more an online product or service type of scenario. If you're doing online stuff, it's already, if you're online and you can see multiple clients at a time, or you're offering a product online, you are definitely much more likely to be scalable. But it's also important to understand your average lifetime customer value, because that's going to help you with marketing. So if the average person, say you have 10 different products you offer online at different price points, and so the average person that comes to your site spends $50. Now, you want to think about all your overhead and all your things that you have to pay for, and you want to figure out if your average lifetime customer value is, say, 50 in this example. At what point, how much percentage of that can you afford to spend on acquisition? So if you run an ad, how much can you spend, and say the ad brings in 3 customers? How much can you actually spend on that ad? You don't want to spend very much on that ad if the average person is only spending $50, right? So that allows you to understand things like advertising budget. These are the things that we want to know, because we can make educated decisions and we wind up not guessing. And then the fifth thing is knowing your where. And by your where, I mean where you're going. Where are you going with this business? And this is so varied, right? Some people are really just looking for some extra $30,000 to $50,000 a year to support their family. They don't want anything big. They just want a tiny little side project. Other people are looking to take their company IPO. So we want to know where you're going, and you want to have a very clear understanding of, you're looking to serve this many people, you're looking to trade your time for money in this sort of way, you're looking to have this type of lifestyle, this much time availability, this much money coming in. There's no wrong answer. But if you understand your where and you know where you're going, that's also going to help you make better decisions. Because in the grand scheme of things, if your goal is to make $30,000 a year and you want to do that in 20 hours a week or less, you can probably do that without hiring a team, and you don't even have to worry about your who so much unless there's jobs that you just want off your plate. So it really is going to help you understand things like how much time do you want to put in, how many marketing dollars, who do you want on your team, by understanding where you're going. Another example of this is, at one point in my first business, I had a brick and mortar. I decided I wanted to take it more online. And so I started making different decisions to set me up for that point, because my where I was going changed slightly. So when we understand where we're going, then any small decision along the way, we begin to understand how to choose, because we're thinking 2, 3, 4 years ahead in order for us to make the best decisions. So those are 5 top reasons, 5 fundamental things to think about for success in business. I'm Dr. Diamond. Please subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you next time.